Hey guys, Clint and Jesse here from Vertek. Today we're going to talk about software tips and tricks. Let's jump right into it.
Okay guys, so today we're going to talk about what happens when you try to click on the detect button and you cannot find your cone, data pack, etc. in CPTSND. So this is a little bit different for our different users. If you're a VTK or an HT customer, the CPTSND software is very similar, but it looks a little different, and there are a few differences with the COM ports, but we'll go over those here in a second. So right now I happen to have a VTK series data pack powered up and plugged in, and the USB cable's all plugged into the laptop, and I have CPTSND pulled up. So right now if I were to click on detect, nothing would be found because I just downloaded this new software, and it's pretty common to download new software and not be able to find anything right out of the gate because most likely you haven't set up the COM ports yet. So I'm going to show you what that means. So if I click on System Setup here, this is going to open up your main setup screen. So this is going to allow you to change your tip channel units and what type of depth encoder or potentiometer you're using and some other things like that. So here's the main setup screen, and on the right hand side here where it says module serial port and it says NA, that means that no serial port has been chosen to communicate with the data pack. So if you were to click on this little drop down box, you can see a bunch of different options, and sometimes it can be confusing to know which one to choose, and I'm going to show you a few tricks on how to choose the right one. So the first thing that I'm going to do is open up Device Manager. If you don't know how to get to Device Manager, you can just search for it here in your search bar. So if you just type in DEVICE, Device Manager should pull right up. In this case, I already have it pulled up on my computer. So in Device Manager, there's a little subtask here called Ports, COM, and LPT. If you double click on that, it will give you a complete list of all the USB serial ports that are available to communicate over. Now this first one, COM1, is going to always show up no matter what you have plugged in, so disregard COM1. I'm going to unplug my USB cable that goes to my data pack, and I'm going to do that to see what comes off this list, because let's say you had a couple other things plugged in, like maybe a wireless mouse or a GPS device. Those are also likely to communicate over a COM port, so it can get confusing to know which one belongs to the wireless mouse versus your data pack, etc. So I'm going to go ahead and unplug my USB cable, and my list is going to refresh. And so now under ports, COM, and LPT, the only thing that shows up is COM1. So that tells me all the other COM ports on there that were available were all linked to this data pack. So I'm going to plug my USB cable back. If you happen to have a IT managed computer that asks you to encrypt this, just click Do Not Encrypt This Drive. So now I'm looking at my list of COM ports here. I have COM 19, 20, 21, and 22. And then I have COM 3 and COM 4. Now typically your data pack is going to communicate over the lowest COM port number because that's how we have it set up. So in that case it would be COM 3. So I'm going to take that information and use it to set up my module serial port in CPTSND. So I'm going to click on System Setup, and then I'm going to change this module serial port here to 3. And then I'm going to hit Save. And I'm going to go ahead and click the Detect button and see what happens. Now, like I said, my cone's plugged in to my data pack. My data pack is powered on, and the USB cable from the data pack to the laptop is all hooked up. And bingo, looks like it found the data pack on port 3. If you were an HT user, this would be a very similar situation, except for your data pack's actually going to communicate over one port, and your truck interface is actually going to communicate over another port. So what you would do in that scenario is you would go in Device Manager, just like we just did, and you would look for two COM ports, and the lowest of the two COM ports would be the ones you would choose. So the top box, which is actually the cone, not the data pack, sorry, you would put in, say, COM3, and then truck interface, you would put in COM4. So it's a very similar setup to how it works with this VTK series that we have plugged in. If you have any questions, go ahead and give us a call or visit our website, www.vertekcpt.com. We'll see you at the next video.